I present to you a picture of a family. They're on your seats. They look like normal people. This right here is my grandfather Frank. This is this is sister Magda, his brother Bundy, and his other brother Emery. This picture was taken in the spring of 1943, 1 week before this family was broken up and deported to concentration camps. This is how we see them. But this is how their neighbors saw them. Hook-nosed Jews who are inherently evil. This propaganda, which made Jews the villain by simplifying them and making them caricatures, was one of the ways that the Nazis were able to carry out the most systematic genocide in human history. The crime of my family was that they were represented by this simple and dishonest caricature. How did the people who broke up this family see them? Which picture did they see? We have to take the lessons of the Torah and our rabbis to heart as we live in the modern world. I understand that our rabbis saw Esau to be the ancestor of Rome and therefore made him a villain. And there are many reasons why the rabbis did this. Our teacher, Gershon Cohen, wrote that one of the reasons was to assert the Jewish people's exclusive status as God's chosen people, much as Christianity was doing at the time. And anti-Esau biblical commentaries may have emerged because of Christian persecution of Jews in Europe. I do not look down upon these reasons. They were valid for their time. But we have entered into a different time and a much different place. As Jews living in America, we are turning to something that we are not used to: normal. We are a group living in a nation, like many other groups, and we live in this nation as equals. It is time for a shift in our thinking, to stop looking at other groups and other peoples in our country and around the world in a one-dimensional way. We have seen what happens when a people is looked at as a simplistic and dishonest caricature. However, do we truly know the implication of looking at each person as a complex character? Perhaps we have to return to the Torah and start looking at other peoples not as hordes of good or evil doers, but as a group of complex personalities, much like our own Yaakov and Esau, in order to experience a new reality, different than even our recent past. The last mention of Esau is when he and Yaakov come together to bury their father in Genesis 35:29. They had reconciled their problems by that time, and the issue of the birthright is behind them. We can see this in the text because their names are put in their original order, and he was buried by his sons, Esau and Yaakov. You see, Esau's name comes first. They came together out of love, realizing that they had a connection that could not be broken. It is time for us to look at all other peoples in the same way as our brothers and sisters with whom we have a connection that cannot be severed. Our connection is strengthened by our complexities and the fact that we are all members of the human race. At the end of Parshat Toledot, Yaakov and Esau leave each other in a bitter way. But in Parshat Vayishlach, they meet again. When they meet, they have an interesting moment. After years of distance, Yaakov sees his brother Esau, and he tells him, "If you do me this favor, accept from me this gift. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God." Panei Elohim. In this pivotal moment, they left their fears behind to see the most basic thing that is in another human being. Panei Elohim, the face of God. Israel
This morning, David will get us started.
As also to your family, especially Alyssa. It's great to hear you speak. You speak with great simplicity and a lot of challenges. Seeing that complexity is not an easy thing. But it's easy to take that challenge from you because you really lived it. You probably lived it in the time before you came to rabbinical school. But I've witnessed you live it in the time when you've been here. The challenges that you've taken on to meet people where they are, to develop your voice, to be able to make a difference, to hear people's stories and the complexity in their stories, and the mandate for action that grows out of those stories. And that's what you modeled for us when you came to our Torah today. So my prayer is that you can take everything that you've learned and this voice that you've honed to challenging simplicity and bring it out there into the world where I know you will make a big difference.
You want to say Shabbat Shalom? There's some refreshments in Golson Kwandon, like a dessert. Everyone's invited.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.